Hi guys, my name is Nonima Dikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to go to Uncle Way to answering by God's decisively at Genius Fellows. Let's go to his page quickly. There's something there that I think is quite interesting. He says here on this one, you know that I love this guy. The Absalom Zungu saga isn't a sideshow, it's the heart of this case. Once the state chose to build its breakthrough on him, once the state chose to build its breakthrough on him, his repudiation doesn't create doubt. It pulls the plug on the entire life support system of the prosecution of the Senzo Meyiwa trial. Remember what Brigadier told the court: the breakthrough came from Absalom Zungu linking KZN suspects to Phosphorus Hostel. That's not hearsay, that's direct evidence from the lead investigator on oath in the record. Now that Absalom Zungu has taken the stand and said, I never gave that statement, I never signed it, it never implicated anyone, the state certainly claims it was just triple hearsay and never central. That's not law, that's backpedaling. You can't enjoy the benefits of a witness when he seems to support you, then shout hearsay the moment he turns around and contradicts you. Once the state relied on Absalom as the source, they are stuck with the consequences of his repudiation. If Absalom's breakthrough falls, look at the chain. Arrest of accused 1 and 2. They are disputed, pointing out Constable Zungu's hostel bride story. All of it flows from the original chip off. Poison the roots, the branches die. The state's new line, we actually relied on the son, not the father, doesn't help. The son's version is derivative of the father's alleged statement. Once dad says it never happened, the son stands alone as a single shaky witness. South African law has a simple principle. The state may not approbate and reprobate. You can't tell the court in May that Absalom is your breakthrough, then in November pretend he was never important. Courts look at what's on the record, not spin. This is bigger than a credibility contest. If the court accepts that the statement was forged or falsely attributed, it doesn't just hurt the case, it taints the investigative process itself. That's where abuse of process and Section 174 territory begins. International fair trial standards are clear. When decisive evidence is revealed to be unreliable or implausible to test, you don't push on and hope for the best. You stop, you exclude, or you discharge, or you risk a wrongful conviction. The state's fallback is basically ignore the witness who says we used his name without consent because we now say we didn't really need him. That's not a legal defense. It's an admission that the foundation was never solid in the first place. Whatever one thinks of the accused, the Constitution doesn't allow a conviction built on a statement an elderly man has now disowned under oath, especially when that statement was sold to the public as the big breakthrough. Bottom line, Absalom Zungu's evidence isn't a minor difficulty for the state. It's the moment the prosecution's own record turned on them. If the law is applied properly, this isn't just reasonable doubt, it's no case to answer. There is a difference between a breakthrough and initiating investigation. A breakthrough is Zungu's junior's presence at Phosphorus Hostel, not Zungu's senior's triple hearsay evidence. Hey, yo, kunzima. Gininda under oath, the breakthrough was Absalom, not Sizwe. You can't rewrite the record because the witness refused to lie for the state. So that is where we are now with the case of Senzobeyiwa. That is where we are. It's not looking good for the state, and the state is not happy. They are fumbling. They don't know what to do with themselves. It's just a mess. And sadly, there are people that still believe the state case. They believe in Gininda. Listen to this one who responded on this on answering bygones. He says, you guys are not following this case. The case was not built on Zungu. Otherwise, he would have been called. He wasn't called because he heard what was told to him. But Gininda said under oath the breakthrough was Absalom, not Sizwe. You can't rewrite the record because the witness refused to lie for the state. Then other person who's also not believing. There is a difference between a breakthrough and initiating investigations. A breakthrough is Zungu's junior's presence at Foslora's hostel, not Zungu senior's triple hearsay evidence. Wait a minute. Then these people, what are they going to say when there's someone who comes from the hostel and say there was never an event? What are they going to do with themselves? Because there might be someone who's going to come and say there was no such event. There was no 2014 October 26 event. There was no Zungu Junior there. There was no I Choose 125 there. I was never there. I don't know what he's talking about. Then what's going to happen? Lies have short legs indeed. When they say lies have short legs, they mean this. Because right now, right now, I can't. I just can't understand how can they be like this. And then he goes on answering bygones and say the state's triple hearsay excuse is nothing but a desperate smokescreen. They are trying to dodge the damage Absalom Zungu has already done under oath. They once mockingly said to Mgo, he must lie on the bed he made. This isn't strategy, it's panic. And Gininda believed in Absalom Zungu because there was a time he said, answering bygones puts it this way, bottom line, Absalom Zungu's evidence isn't a manner difficult for the state, right? It's the moment the prosecution's own record turned on them. If the law is applied properly, this isn't just reasonable doubt. It's no case to answer. And then he says he received death threats because he was going to testify because his name was not on the witness list, and he made a statement on the 31st of May and put on witness protection. That was Zungu Junior. And then he says, SA law is brutal on tainted investigation. Number 1, Agliotti 2011, perjury kills cases. Number 2, Berlin 1926, involuntarily unsafe confessions get tossed. Number 3, Zuma 1995, fairness overrides everything. The state is staring straight at all three. This hearsay dodge won't save the state. It proves how weak their case really is. They didn't build an airtight case. They built a sand castle. Absalom's testimony is the wave. Sizotini community, what are we going to say to the people out here? Zungu Senior is on the witness box dealing with the bloody triple hearsay evidence. It's dealing with it. Uti Makakubeka, we never introduced the statement. Nonsense. Gininda Viva Voke evidence in May 2025 made it part of the record. It was the backbone of the breakthrough. Now that Absalom has shattered it, the state wants to pretend it never happened. Nope. It can't be that way. Once the alleged source Absalom denies the entire thing, the signature, the alleged narrative, the state's whole chain collapses under S versus Steenbeck 2005 and S versus Hena 2006. The root is rotten. The fruit dies. They will also need to explain why he would suddenly choose to write his name in full on this statement when his signature and handwriting on his ID bank document and everywhere else look completely different. That will prove that he may have never written, he may have written it under duress. It is interesting to see the media will bring in legal experts to discuss the events of the past few days, especially Absalom Zungu's denunciation of the statement and the corruption allegations against Geninda. Let's wait and see what's going to happen, guys. That's the Triple ESA put in more context. So, what are your thoughts when it comes to this? Malume, who answering the bygones decisively, has put it point by point. What do you think? Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye bye.